In a world occupied with impending challenges, global pandemics, and mounting disruption, we choose to focus on the possibilities. We choose to find solutions, to realize the continent's untapped potential by investing in our fellow Africans, supporting communities across the continent, and conducting business the right way. We recognize that every effort we make towards driving Africa's growth begins with the possibility. It all starts as an idea, an aspiration to make a difference, a vision for the future, a glimmer of hope inspired by what it can be, by what we all can be. Because where there's a will, there's a way. And where there is possibility, there's potential for great things to happen. Standard Bank. It can be.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Standard Bank KZN Top Business Awards. Please welcome to the stage your host, Iman Rappetti.
KwaZulu-Natal, come on now. I mean, you can clap a little bit harder for me. I came all the way from Joburg to be with you this evening. Can we just please acknowledge Callie Thompson, who was playing the piano so beautifully. Now, before I get into the formalities, I just have to say something. So this is KwaZulu-Natal. The event starts at what time? 6:30. It's 6:30, and the starters are done and all the guests are in place. This is, for me as a Joburger, completely unheard of. If an event is starting at 6:30 in Joburg, at 8 o'clock we send the children down the driveway and into the street to look for where the people are. So this is amazing, and on a more serious note, I think it's just a tribute to your punctuality, and that says a lot about business. Time is money. They often say African time, and you have all of these stereotypes about how we do business on the continent and in our country. But you showing up in the way that you did tonight is incredible. We're on time. I mean, it's 18:36. Brilliant. Give yourselves a round of applause. Just one more thing before I get into the formalities. I want to pay you a genuine compliment. When I walked into the room a little bit earlier on, I thought, oh gosh, I'm not even wearing anything that even has a sparkle. Maybe I should cut up one of the tablecloths just so that I can bling a little bit. Because you guys look incredible, and I mean it sincerely. I do a lot of events in many different places, and I always say, what a beautiful audience. And often I don't really mean it, but I have to say it. Tonight, I'm saying it for real. And that lady at the table there with the white dress, you caught my eye from the corner. You look amazing. Not just yourself, a lot of the ladies in the room, and the men as well. You polish your shoes. It's incredible. So on that note, I want to, again, it's been a really tough year, and it's going to be an amazing evening. This is your evening to just absolutely celebrate. And I wrote something, KZN is known for its praise singers. Now, I'm not a praise singer, but I'm going to do my best this evening. So it's something in the line of, good evening and welcome to the dynamic innovators. You can keep clapping and ululating as you hear these amazing words. The dynamic innovators, the boundary pushers, the I won't take no for an answers. Didn't I tell you we would build a family legacy? The started from the bottom, now we here. The hustlers and the dreamers, the planners and the thinkers. To all of you who say we haven't arrived, we're only getting started, this night is a celebration of you. Again, just give yourselves a really hearty round of applause. Okay, so it is an amazing night for us to raise a glass, to put our hands together, and to really appreciate each one of you in the room. And just by virtue of being in the room, you are in that special area, the area that's reserved for the resilient. Because all of our stories are written in sacrifice, they are written in struggle, and they are written in the belief that we can accomplish the things that we set our minds to. And I know in this province particularly as a journalist who is still working, I've had the misfortune I need to go for more cardio in the gym. I'm like just walking across the stage, I'm out of breath, but I'll do my best. Anyway, most nights I'm reading the news, or on the weekend I'm reading the news, and it's really sad stories from this province. This is my hometown. I grew up in Phoenix, just across the hill in Unit 30, in a place I'm very proud of the people there. It made me who I am in life, and these last 2 years have been hellish. I mean, viruses, floods, looting, riots. I heard a crazy story from a lady at that table there about another shooting in Mpangeni today over clothing. I mean, it's just crazy. It's almost like God has a grudge against the province in a way. When you think of the real suffering. And we can talk, light notes, and we can make light of the situation because that's our nature as Africans and South Africans. But to actually live it and to do it is something totally incredible. So it really is salute to you that you are here this evening. So I'd like to welcome on this august occasion Mr. Ravi Pillay, who's the MEC of the KwaZulu-Natal Department of Economic Development, Environmental Affairs and Tourism. We have Lindelani Mbambo, who's the Chief Director in the Office of the Premier, the Standard Bank Exco team, the KwaZulu-Natal Top Business team, all of our honored guests, our friends, members of the business community, our partners, our investors, the believers, here in person in this amazing new Radisson Blu Hotel. And to all of you who have joined us online, and I'm talking to you in the camera there and everywhere else, please feel very welcome, and all protocol is observed. Ladies and gentlemen, and those who identify differently, this room has a new car smell. Everything is shiny and it's fabulous. You know, when you get into that new car, it's amazing. And I was so excited to come to this hotel. I was like, I'm sure no one's ever been in my room before. It's brand spanking new. It's the first phase of a 4.5 billion rand mixed-use property project. It's a major economic development in the province. And I understand that it's also the first internationally branded five-star hotel in South Africa to open in Durban since the Hilton way back in 1997. And the co-founder of this amazing edifice is with us tonight as well, renowned business titan, Mr. Vivian Reddy, who joins us tonight with his beautiful wife, Sarisha. It's lovely to have you guys. So who am I? I'm Iman Rappetti. I am an award-winning broadcaster. I feel like I should say it in that voice because I worked very hard to get those awards. And I'm also an author. And I just want to say, I'm really happy to be in your atmosphere tonight. If you're expecting a stuffy event, it's not going to be stuffy because I'm not a stuffy person. We're just going to have fun because we really do want to celebrate. Things are hard, and we have it hard in the boardroom. You've got other places to be stuffy. You don't have to be stuffy here tonight. Plus, the food is great. Am I right? I mean, I didn't eat a thing because girl is trying. But I was told by, the ladies at the table that what was it? What did you have for dinner? What was the starters? The ravioli, the butternut ravioli with the shiitake mushrooms. They were delicious. So well done to the service staff. And while I am talking about the service staff, please a round of applause to all the waiting staff that serve you at our tables. They come from a lot of different communities and they work very hard. So it's really great to have them with us. All right, so the annual KZN Top Business Awards is in its 16th year. The event is a celebration of all of your achievements over the last year, and we couldn't do it without the support of business, and Standard Bank has been the proud sponsor of this event for many years now. The Standard Bank value proposition offers all clients the commitment that you can bank on us for the solutions to help you start, manage, and grow your business. It can be is Standard Bank's promise of hope, of change, and of optimism. Did you get the right side? Sorry, do you want me to? Okay, he's off. You happy? Okay. So earlier this year, the Standard Bank, or each year I should say, every single year, and this has been happening, as I say, over the last 16, the Standard Bank KZN Top Business Awards recognizes and celebrates some of the best businesses in KZN. We believe that we need to communicate the importance of striving for success in South Africa through transformation and innovation. Traditionally, as we all know, business awards are about financial returns, about increased sales, or about market share. But the Standard Bank KZN Top Business Awards recognizes companies and organizations that integrate responsible business practice into their mainstream operations. And you can see businesses that are operating inauthentically. They don't take care of people, there's no psychological safety in their organizations, there's no leadership development, and there's no community impact. And this is one of the things that, this awards is trying to acknowledge and to create more of, this positive impact in the marketplace, in our environment, in the community and in the workplace. We've got to create a better life for all, not only in this province, but across the country and across the continent. To build an opportunity requires an economy that is open to creating those opportunities for everyone. So let's hear from our marquee sponsor.
Our origins. Ours is the story of a courageous spirit, charting new paths to drive Africa's growth. As we look to the future, it's incredible to think that our legacy began over 150 years ago in Port Elizabeth in the Eastern Cape of South Africa, financing the export of wool, the main export product at the time. Our growth story. From agriculture, we expanded into mining, providing banking services to the early miners. We were the first bank to open in the diamond fields at Klipdrift, now Berkeley West, in 1870, and the first to open a branch in Johannesburg in 1886. As industries developed in South Africa, Standard Bank ventured into these new industries, serving the needs of the growing economy. But our ambition stretched way beyond our home country, expanding into the rest of Africa. By the early 20th century, we'd established operations in an additional 10 African countries, continuing our continental expansion into the 21st century. Today, we have operations in 20 African countries. We are also represented in key markets outside of Africa, enabling us to facilitate and empower Africa's business and trade with the rest of the globe. Fueled by our bold, pioneering spirit, we listed on South Africa's Stock Exchange in 1970. By 1987, a little more than a century after our story began, we were 100% South African owned. In 2008, an investment in Standard Bank by the Industrial and Commercial Bank of China helped to open trade and investment opportunities between Africa and China. Today, we're proud of our wide network, fueling Africa's growth as an integrated financial services organization, serving many types of clients in many countries on the continent and the rest of the world. Doing the right business the right way. Our transformation story started in South Africa with the call for political and social change. We were leaders in the employment of women and Black people, as well as one of the first to implement a Black economic empowerment share scheme. Sim Shabalala was appointed Standard Bank's first Black chief executive, and in 2018, we were recognized as being one of the most transformed companies on the JSE. We continue to be conscious of our role in influencing positive social change, including being proud advocates for gender equity through our partnership with the United Nations He for She movement. More broadly, our commitment to social, economic, and environmental issues is at the core of our strategy. It's about more than doing what's right for our business. It's about doing the right business in the right way. Our C value driver focuses on 7 impact areas in Africa, namely financial inclusion, job creation and enterprise growth, infrastructure, Africa trade and investment, climate change and sustainable finance, education and health. Leading the way with innovations that work. As change makers, we're passionate about finding new ways to enable people's dreams. But this is nothing new. As the first commercial bank to introduce ATMs in South Africa, and as pioneers of telephone and online banking, today we continue our commitment to find innovations that make a real difference in the lives of our clients. In a world that continues to advance technologically, we are digitally driven, committed to empowering entrepreneurs and the growth of business in Africa, and providing all clients with exceptional experiences. It's all about our people. Looking back, our success and progress can be attributed to the ongoing dedication and passion of our employees and the strength and expertise of our collective leadership, who are frequently called on to contribute to global discussions about the growth of Africa. Time has taught us an important lesson. Dreams matter. They're the fuel that powers the future. And so, We will continue to hoist the standard, inspired to find new ways to make dreams possible. Standard Bank, it can be.
That is quite a formidable history. On that note, I'd like to welcome the head of local markets business clients for the eThekwini Business Centre. It is Fiona Ibrahim.
On behalf of Standard Bank and KZN Top Business, I extend a very warm welcome to each and every one of our esteemed guests here tonight. I'd like to make special mention of some of our executive members from Standard Bank, Imran Nurbai, who is our head consumer client coverage, Hamid Nur Mohammed, head client coverage business clients, Junaid Jadwat, head client coverage diversified industries, and Kuben Chetty, who is head commercial clients. I also extend a very warm welcome to Martin Rowe, who's the Group Chief Executive Officer for CCI Global, Ravi Pillai, MEC for the Department of Economic Development and Tourism and Environmental Affairs, and Grant Adlam, CEO of KZN Top Business. All protocols observed. It's amazing to be in this room again tonight and see so many familiar faces. Our lives have changed drastically since we were last together, and tonight we celebrate businesses that have successfully adapted to and even thrived during very difficult and challenging times. At Standard Bank, we believe that Africa is our home, and we strive to drive her growth. We also believe that growth must be sustainable and should nourish the communities in which we live and work. We are proud to once again be associated with the Standard Bank KZN Top Business Awards for 2021. These awards honor businesses that make a tangible difference in their communities, and this is something that resonates with us as a financial services organization. It is important to be a partner that helps drive sustainable growth in your business. And when it comes to this, it's a direct result of a profound realization. It is the strong conviction that as a bank that drives Africa's growth, our role extends beyond merely servicing our clients' banking needs. Growing also means being recognized amongst our fellow peers. And it is an honor to commemorate the winning of the Lefonti Best Private Bank Global and Best Private Bank for Innovation Awards in 2022. The 12th edition of the Lefonti Awards was held on the 23rd of June at Palazzo Mazzanotti, which is the headquarters for the Italian Stock Exchange. These awards celebrate business excellence in the categories of business innovation, leadership, technological achievements, and employee engagement. The Lefonti Awards is one of the world's leading ceremonies in business awards. Every day, we partner with businesses across KwaZulu-Natal, helping them achieve their business goals, and in turn, helping them make a difference in their communities. After all, this is what businesses do. Businesses have an impact, whether it's creating jobs and opportunities or driving the economy. Businesses play an integral role in ensuring that a community thrives. Standard Bank understands that any business is more than just its bottom line. Businesses exist for a greater purpose, and we are committed to helping you fulfill that purpose. We understand that our clients' needs are vast and varied, and it extends beyond just the products that we offer. To be a true partner, we need to intimately understand our client's business and overlay this with the industry expertise and knowledge that sits within the organization. And this allows us to have truly meaningful conversations with our clients. Standard Bank has a long and storied history in KZN. where we've been in existence for almost 160 years now. And as a bank fully invested in KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa, and Africa, we believe that when you do business the right way, it is as great as for sustainability as it is for profitability. We are invested in enabling and advising businesses that align to these ambitions to drive sustainable growth across the continent, as it is smart business and it cultivates the place we call home. I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate all our nominees here tonight and wish you all the best. Enjoy the evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fiona. You know, the lights were doing a funny thing there just now, and it made me think about the issue of load shedding in South Africa. It actually wasn't even meant as a joke. I was being so serious. Because we understand the dysfunction that it creates. You know what it does in your business, you know what it does at home. And actually, you know, if you think about it from a neuroscience perspective, something happens when you're in the dark. Like, remember when you were a kid and then suddenly no one was home and you could be in the dark with someone you liked, then like things happened. But when the lights came on, like you couldn't. Psychologically, something shifts in our brain. But as adults, and on a serious note now, can you imagine the years that people live in informal settlements where there is no lights, where there are high levels of crime, and where there are heightened senses of vulnerability? Can you imagine being in a place while you're sleeping, while your children are going to school, while you want to use the toilet in the middle of the night, not having the psychological safety to do so? That is a frightening thing that is a reality for millions of South Africans and people who come from other countries and live in informal settlements without access to power or to utilities. That does some damage in the brain neurologically, and we expect people to show up in our businesses at full strength like everyone else who came from a place where there was running water and where there were flushing toilets and where there were lights and you could have a hot meal in the morning. And part of the opportunity for an occasion like this is not only to celebrate because we must, but as South Africans we have a double responsibility in our celebration, is to constantly reflect. All of you are deeply empowered in one way or another in this room to remember the realities of the people that work for you, the people that work with you, the people that want to partner with you. There has to be a deep, higher purpose and a philosophical connection to the people that we work with and an awareness of their issues. But it is also an incredible opportunity to take people along on that journey of growth and success that you are on. I mean, I look at all of you and I just think, wow, what a heroic group of people, because you found the hack. You found a way to make whatever you were thinking about, whatever idea you had, a total success and a win, and you're being celebrated for that tonight. But not everyone can. Is there room for mentorship? Is there a way that you're leaving the door open, not kicking the ladder away, once you've reached the position of power, authority, and influence? It's just something I'm going to leave you with for now as we move forward in our awards program, but I think it would be remiss of us to only dwell in this one atmosphere of celebration and champagne and fine food, and not always, as South Africans and Africans, be cognizant of the context and the market in which we live and in which we operate. So shall we get to the awards? Getting off the soapbox now. Okay. So the Standard Bank KZN Top Business Leaders Award. This is an honorary award that's given to a business person who has demonstrated exemplary business achievement, industry influence, and is a true influence to others. We also have the KZN Personality of the Year 2022, and that person will be an accomplished and determined business person with over 30 years of experience. And this leader is responsible for all functions of their company and has ensured that the business is well known for its ethical conduct. So I'll tell you more about that a little bit later on. I'm going to keep the suspense growing. But tonight we are honored to welcome the Group Chief Executive, not the Chief Executive, no. The Group Chief Executive Officer for CCI Global, Martin Rowe, and I'll tell you a bit about Martin before he comes up. Martin's got more than 2 decades of experience in the business process outsourcing industry. It's known as the BPO, and he's been all over the world. His experience spans the UK, the US, India, Egypt, and South Africa. Martin has set up BPO contact centers all over the world for clients in telecoms, financial services, energy, gaming, and technology. and he's negotiated more than $1.5 billion, Vivian, not rand, $1 billion worth of BPO contracts to date. And throughout his career, he's developed a deep understanding of BPO, both from a commercial and a client perspective, having worked in just about every role in BPO, from operations to commercial and leadership. Martin, I think I've done you justice. Where are you? Come up.
Three decades, not two. So, so good evening, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, and colleagues and friends and distinguished guests. So it's an honor to have been asked to speak at this event. So thanks to the KZN Top Business Awards and to Standard Bank for asking me to be here. We bank with Standard Bank. We've got a long-term relationship, and it would be remiss of me to say that those of you who are not with Standard Bank should consider your banking decisions post this event. So my name's Martin Rowe, and I'm the CEO of a company called CCI Global. And I've literally, this afternoon, just arrived from a long trip to the US and the UK. I'm talking to business leaders over there, and you'll be unsurprised to hear that when I speak to business leaders over there, their sentiment is overwhelmingly of concern and negativity. Recession is looming and inflation is at generationally high levels. Consumer cost of living is through the roof, spiraling upwards. There's a war in Ukraine. COVID continues to have an impact. So pretty negative. And in the UK and the US particularly, it's exacerbated by a record low levels of unemployment, where it's virtually impossible to hire people in those markets. Everywhere I go in the US and the UK, this is what people are saying to me. And it seems inconceivable that people can't hire people from the perspective of Africa, where there are horrible levels of unemployment. And when I try and explain to particularly my American friends and colleagues that people here are unemployed through no fault of their own, when in the US, if you're jobless, it's a lifestyle choice. People can't get their head around that. And it's against this global backdrop that you would anticipate and expect that somebody running a relatively large business would hunker down and try and ride out the storm and conserve cash, limit hiring and so on. But that's not our strategy. Our strategy is actually to double down on Africa and take advantage, in fact, of these global changes that you may and should be aware perhaps when planning your business's choices in the future. Now, CCI has choices as to where it operates, and we choose to be in Africa, and we're at the forefront of the export of services from the continent. I'll talk to you in the next 15 minutes or so about why we believe that Africa is the next big thing, particularly in terms of services. What attributes and characteristics do and should African businesses have to succeed in a global environment? And what are the risks and headwinds that might be coming, and what we at CCI are doing about them? So a little bit about us. So CCI is the largest BPO or global business services company in sub-Saharan Africa. We think, and we've invested heavily, that Africa is the next big thing for services. And I'll talk later about three key themes that I think has made us successful, and I hope will continue to make us successful in the future. Now, CCI is an export business. We export services, not products. And we think that Africa more broadly, and South Africa is at the very center of this change, is at the beginning of an economic growth cycle that's going to see many countries, if they're smart, rapidly develop from commodities or agriculturally based economies to much more diversified economies with services at the center of that. And those services mean that rapidly more people can be included in the formal economy and participate in the globalized, increasingly digital space. That's where we're making our big bets. I'll try and give you examples of how we see this playing out and what we're doing to be at the vanguard of this development. And as I say, I literally came back this afternoon with all of this negative news from global markets, but wrapped inside of that is, I think, nothing but good news for Africa and South Africa more specifically. So it's no secret that Africa is home to some of the fastest growing economies in the world, albeit from a relatively low base. And many of the fastest growing companies in Africa are in South Africa and in Kenya, both markets that we operate from. And we think the pandemic is going to and is accelerating many trends that were already happening before, but it's accelerating it, particularly the drive to innovation and to digital solutions and to anything from anywhere. So you can work anywhere now, and from a service perspective, it doesn't matter whether you're in Umhlanga, whether you're in Nairobi, or whether you're in Manhattan, you can do the same activity from anywhere in the world, and we're going to take advantage of that. We're also taking advantage of the fact that we think that the innovative startups are gathering pace across Africa. There's 5 or 6 or 7 unicorns, $1 billion companies, startups that I can think of, think Jumia and others. And these businesses are trying to solve everyday problems, like making banking easier. I mean, you guys in Africa have had M-Pesa for such a long time, and that sort of innovation from such a long time ago doesn't even exist in the US today. You know, this is before smartphones even had a foothold. The industry that I'm in, the global business services or BPO industry, is forecast to grow by 27% in Africa this year. And South Africa leads the pack. It's head and shoulders above every other country. And South Africa, for the 2nd or 3rd year running, has been voted by offshore buyers of services as the most preferred customer experience delivery location in the world. Now, this is against stalwarts such as India and the Philippines, against nearshore locations in Europe and nearshore locations in the US. So while South Africa is at the forefront of it, other countries, including Rwanda, Ghana and Kenya, are all fast catching up and are becoming digital hubs. Google and Meta are both dropping in submarine cables on both sides of the continent. And I was with Google 10 days ago, and an executive from Google told me that the cable that they're landing into Accra in Ghana will be like a fire hose of data, which will rapidly accelerate the digitization of Africa, which will therefore then enable Africa to deliver services to the rest of the world. Now, this is big, big stuff, and these are executives in Google that are excited about Africa. And I was with Amazon today, and Amazon are talking about Africa in every conversation I have with them. South Africa, patchy from an infrastructure perspective, but getting better. You've got LTE and broadband coverage pretty much across the whole country, but access to those services at the moment is not as good as it ought to be and needs to get better, but we do see that improving. And we see rapid industrialization across the continent, and I'll give you some details of that as I talk about what we're doing. And this is industrialization in a very modern sense. Industrialization that is not factories with chimneys billowing smoke. This is the kind of new age, the 4th industrial revolution. Everywhere I go in Africa, I'm seeing innovation, I'm seeing technology, and I'm seeing young people who are going to be the driving force of my industry and other digitally focused industries moving forward. Work to do still, but the gigantic population of Africa, I mean, get your head around this, and you probably know this, but the average age of sub-Saharan Africans is 19. Yeah, 19. It's absolutely staggering. It's the youngest population in the world. It's a population that's going from 1 in 7 of the world's population to 1 in 5 in the next 20 or 25 years, and that's hundreds of millions of young, digitally enabled people who will have access to these jobs globally because technology is rapidly advancing. Regions across Africa, as we see it, are growing capability to deliver into this digital revolution that's happening. I was in Kenya recently, and the Ajira program in Kenya has got 10,000 young people today working on basic introductory skills for online work in readiness for the tsunami, I hope, of activity that's coming soon. I was in Ethiopia 6 or 8 weeks ago. Ethiopia, amazingly, has 250,000 science, technology, engineering and maths graduates a year. 250,000 people per year with technology-related degrees. 60,000 people a year here in South Africa, which I think is pretty good going. There's a bigger population. And Ethiopia is planning from a primary school perspective to accelerate the number of graduates that they're going to have in the next 15 years. So lots and lots of forethought there. And when I travel around Africa, I'm also actually positively impacted by many countries' economic incentives, specialized economic zones, particularly for my industry, which brings costs down and makes the barriers to entry fewer, to the extent that I can see massive and rapid growth. When I talk to international investors, most of the new money coming into private sector investment in Africa is coming from the US, which I think is a really positive sign, not so much on the public sector side. And that's because from a US perspective, the English comprehension, for example, is good. There's 16 or 18 million English speakers here in South Africa. There's 500,000 new English speakers entering the South African workforce every year. They speak English. I'm from the UK. They speak English with a quasi-English accent, but more importantly, they've got a cross-cultural affinity to these global markets, to markets in the US and in the UK or in Australia. And there's actually, in South Africa, a fair amount of multilingual capability. There's 250,000 people in South Africa that speak French. There's 40-odd thousand people that speak Italian, 30-odd thousand people that speak German. So this isn't just an Anglo phone-focused industry, it's much more global. Today, CCI has about 11.5, nearly 12,000 employees in Africa. Most of them are here in South Africa. We're pretty big in Kenya, and we're rapidly expanding into Ghana, Ethiopia, Rwanda, and Egypt. So we'll be in Ethiopia, Rwanda, and Ghana by the end of this year. In fact, Ethiopia opens next week. So we're rapidly expanding into Africa. But we're an international business, but KZN is our spiritual home. So our first ever site with 20 people in it was it was in Mount Edgecombe, in fact, up the road. And even today, more than half of our employees are in South Africa. And we still have operations in Mount Edgecombe, although in a bigger site than when we only had 20 people. And we've got some big offices here on Umhlanga Ridge, 6,000 or 7,000 people here, and we've got offices in the CBD. And we're considered to be one of the pioneers of the GBS, or the BPO sector in South Africa. We've been doing this since about 2005 here. And the industry's created hundreds of thousands of jobs directly and indirectly, and has been the starting point for many, many young people's careers here in South Africa. I've been at CCI for 9 years, and I've been the CEO for 7.5 years, but I'm a veteran of the offshoring and outsourcing industry, 30 years this year, in the UK, in India, and the US, and lots of places. And despite all this terrible news, I am very, very optimistic about the future of our industry in Africa. We've spent, CCI over the past 15 years have invested about $1 billion in the industry in Africa. In the next year alone, we'll spend $75 million in KZN. We'll spend probably 4 times that across Africa. Now, we're an unusual business when I think about sentiment, because on the one hand, we're a B2B business. We deal with the people that pay the invoices are big companies in America, the UK, Australia, and here in Africa, like T-Mobile and United Airlines and Amazon and Saks Fifth Avenue, AIG, MTN. So it's my job to know what companies think and want and what their pain points are. But we also deliver services to their customers. So we've got people on phones and talking to people doing customer services and sales and insurance claims handling. And when I say talking to, increasingly they're on an app. It's asynchronous messaging. It's on WhatsApp. It's via social media channels through this digitalization of the globalized economy. So we're also pretty well placed to understand what consumers want and feel. And because we've got these brands all over the world with lots of different consumer bases, we're in a unique position that helps determine what our strategy ought to be. And our strategy is Africa, focus on Africa, and it's based on 3 key themes. So the first is understanding the market and our customers, really, really important. The second is focus on our people, and I'll spend a bit of time talking to you about that. And the third is management of risk. Now, everybody understands what risk looks like after COVID, so we'll talk about that in a bit more detail shortly. So for me, for all of you, to make sure that your business is going to be successful, you need to understand the dynamics of the market that you're operating in and the direction that that market's moving in. Yeah, so you need to be at least keeping up with the market and maybe be a little bit ahead of it. And that's our aim, to just be a little bit ahead of the market. We don't want to be too far ahead of it, because if you're ahead of your time, you're probably not going to make any money now. So we want to be a little bit ahead of it. The market I operate in is a global market of about $100 billion a year. So it's a pretty big market. It's growing really fast, but it's evolving very rapidly. And I think that our competitors in this $100 billion market are slow to react to the market and to what their customers want, what our customers want. In this industry, and I believe in all industries, relationships matter. So I travel constantly to talk to my customers. It took me 50 hours to get here today. I travel all of the time, and they tell me, and your customers might tell you, that things change, that change is constant, and you have to always be changing too. So for me, what they say to me is automation and self-help are real. Consumers don't want friction. They want everything to be quick and simple. So successful companies like Amazon design their internal processes from the perspective of the customer, and they're constantly reviewing them to reduce friction. So I was on a call literally before I came here with Amazon, and the word they use about that is relentless, right? Relentlessly focused on fixing failure so it doesn't happen. So if you think about the bank, I remember, I'm old enough to remember when if you wanted to check your bank balance, you had to go to the bank. And then ATMs came in, and it was very convenient that you could get it from the machine. And now I do all of my global banking from an app in my pocket. So reduce friction, fix things before they happen, and enable self-service. This is what all of my customers want. I then think about, well, what does that mean for me at CCI? Well, on the face of it, it seems like a threat, right? Because historically, companies like CCI were successful exactly because of these pain points, because of these high volume, low value transactions that companies like Amazon used to outsource and offshore to low cost destinations, mainly because of labor arbitrage. So there was a lot of them, they weren't worth much money, so farm it out to the lowest cost destination. Now, those things don't exist anymore. Those transactional activities are all automated or online or on an app, which means the things that are left are complicated or emotional or both. So this is where we see the big opportunity for Africa, because these problems are not about labor arbitrage and low-cost labor. These problems are about humans, and they're about finding humans who can intervene in these complex or emotional pain points. And these humans need to be resilient, have high degrees of empathy, have a very high cultural understanding with those source markets, UK, Australia, the US, exceptional English. So think, for example, we have a customer in Australia that is a pay TV company, a DSTV equivalent in Australia. Their number one problem is customers are calling them to say, I don't want to pay $75 a month when I can pay $12 to Netflix. It's key that they save those customers, and in order to save those customers, they need engaging people that can talk to them about the Great Australian Bake Off, Australian rules football, about how, yes, the footy season might have finished, but what you need to think about is what are the kids going to do without Cartoon Network? What about, we've got airline customers, and we literally have problems where people lose their husband's ashes whilst it's in transit on a plane. You need a high degree of empathy to deal with that. And we believe that this is where Africa, South Africa specifically, have got the edge. And that is fundamentally what we're selling. Now, we can't be complacent because the competition is brutal and fierce. And we do really well against traditional markets like India and the Philippines, who struggle somewhat with those high degrees of empathy. There was a recent example where it was a termination of a contract for a telecoms company, and they called into a contact centre which was in fact in India, and the lady said, I'm terminating the contract because I lost my husband, and the agent said, oh, I'm sorry you lost your husband, I hope you find him soon. Yeah, so there's these specific nuances we can deal with, but we've got fierce competition. I was in Mexico on Monday. Mexico has many similarities to South Africa in terms of the quality of people. And increasingly, because there's fewer of these interactions and the value of the interactions has gone up, we face competition with the US and with the UK and with Australia, which is why chronic labour shortages in those markets are really good news for us right now. The second thing, and it's related to the first thing in terms of themes, is focus on your people. Okay, so our product, and it seems disingenuous to describe it as a product, but our product is people and relationships. So every minute of every day, right now, up on the ridge and in Nairobi and elsewhere, we've got thousands of people engaged with our clients' customers, and every one of those interactions has an outcome that's important. So it's important to the consumer because we might be settling an insurance claim from a stressful event in their life. It's important to my client because they need to retain that customer in order to get repeat business and continue to survive. It's important to me because we get paid based on outcomes. It's important to that agent because that agent who's taking that call relies on those wages to feed their family and relies on doing a good job to further their career. And it's important to South Africa because every time we do a really good job, word gets out and we create more jobs. Yeah? So there's a cycle here. So we're a people-focused business, our product in people. And this looming recession and these skill shortages is a big opportunity for us in Africa because what we don't lack is people. What we don't lack is applicants for jobs. What we do lack, however, is people who are ready to work. We do lack people who see careers rather than jobs. And this is something that we all, as business people, need to work on together. So there is absolutely an onus on governments to make sure that young people are prepared for work, and we do see pockets of innovation across the continent. Today, we're working with the government in Rwanda about they including in the high school curriculum customer service and sales skills so that when those people graduate from high school and maybe from university, they're work ready in terms of those soft skills. Here in South Africa, there are many well-meaning government-sponsored schemes that we participate in, but we think that business must also make a substantial contribution to developing the people in the markets that they operate. 9 years ago, when I first came to South Africa, here in Durban, up in Umhlanga, we looked at the profile of our job applicants. We were quite a small business then, and we were perplexed to see that we had very few applicants from young women, first of all, and we had almost no applications at all from young black women, almost zero. We set up a non-profit called Career Box, who initially wanted to understand why the most economically disadvantaged cohort in South Africa, young black women, were hardly represented at all in applications for jobs that we were putting in local papers. And the answer was that these groups of people felt excluded, they had limited or no role models at all, they lacked confidence on a major scale, and they couldn't get experience when people said, you need experience to get this job. So how do you get experience to get a job if you can't get experience to get a job? A vicious circle that we'll all recognise. Because of this, we developed a training and development program, a work readiness program, just for BPO, for outsourcing, that people can apply for, and it takes 2 weeks of intensive training. Now these people come, and we don't pay them, so they come for free, but they don't pay to come. It's funded by CCI. And all we guarantee them at the end of this 2 weeks is an interview for a job at CCI. 9 years later, more than 30,000 people have been through this program. 14,000 people have successfully completed the program, then got a job at CCI. And many of these people were previously overlooked, couldn't get even an interview for a job, and many of them unemployed for years. Yeah? And this happens every day. Up the road in Umhlanga, we get up to 3,000 people a month coming to us, and we specifically target the most previously disadvantaged from an economic perspective communities in South Africa. Today, 9 years later, more than 70% of our entire workforce was recruited via that model. Right? So we targeted these disadvantaged groups. We came up with a solution that was virtuous, and everybody won. Clearly, the employees won because they were hopeless, struggling to get a job, very, very under and unemployed. But we also won because we tapped into a workforce that then drove these fabulous outcomes that I described for our customers. This workforce are the global superstars of BPO. Yeah? So by targeting groups that were previously overlooked, we've got an edge on our competitors. And we didn't stop there, because what we then recognized was people in Africa, unlike the US and the UK, crave development. So once we got people in through the Career Box program as entry-level individuals, we then needed to develop them. So what we've done over the past 9 years is we've developed a formal development program that takes people from entry-level, the very, very first step on their career, all the way through to junior leadership, middle management, and to senior leadership. And we developed these programs from scratch. And most of them, in fact, have now been accredited here in South Africa by the NQF, so there's a kind of qualification that goes with it. And our vision is that one day, one of those young people that joins us at CareerBox will be the CEO of the company. That's our vision, and that's what we think will happen in the next, and I've been doing this for 30 years, it's not going to happen next week, but it is going to happen. And today we have CareerBox, which is a non-profit in Joburg, Cape Town, and Durban in South Africa, in Nairobi in Kenya, Accra in Ghana, and it's opening in Kigali in Rwanda and Addis in Ethiopia in August and September of this year. The moral of the story there is from a business perspective, the single most important decision and thing that we've done is CareerBox, which is making a decision to invest in the raw materials, the people of Africa, and working with and on them for them to contribute to their success, which in turn has contributed to our success, because we've got motivated and driven employees who then deliver great outcomes, and then the clients give us more work, which means we develop more people, create more jobs, and it's virtuous. So it's been a real positive, and I would urge you all, irrespective of the size of the company, to think outside of the box when you're thinking about who you should be recruiting for that next job opening in your company. And finally, risk. So COVID was a challenging time for all of us, and I'm a stoic, and I look back on COVID now and think about the lessons that we've learned, and I'm grateful for the lessons we've learned, because we're stronger individuals and a stronger company because of it. So we had a disaster recovery plan, like everybody has, and we thought ours was better than everybody else's because we'd had a fire 10 years ago, we tested it, and it worked, but obviously it was quite different in COVID. And then we had the riots here in KZN, and then more recently the devastating floods. So one word from a risk perspective that we think about all day, every day, it's diversity. We think about diversification, diversity. As a B2B business, I've got to think about my exposure to sectors and verticals. So travel was decimated during COVID, so I don't need too many clients in the travel sector. I need a counterbalance to that, maybe telecoms. And if you think about retail, our view is that retail is just about to enter a very difficult and challenging period, so we need a balance so that people don't end up owing me money. So we've got a very, very balanced portfolio, one of the benefits of COVID, so we can absorb shocks. Geographically, diversity. If you think about where our customers are, and you think about how things can happen geographically, like Brexit, for example. Brexit was very specific to the UK, and if all of our exposure was in the UK, we may have struggled. But because we're in the US and Australia and sub-Saharan Africa, we've got a hedge. This also hedges us from a Forex perspective. I don't know how many of you have got exposure to Forex. Our revenues are in 5-6 currencies. Our costs are in 4 or 5 currencies. So it's handy and useful to be diversified when it comes to Forex. And operationally, we're continuing to diversify. So we started here in Durban, we're now in Cape Town, we're now in Johannesburg in a relatively material way. We've got 2,500 people in Kenya, Rwanda and Ghana this year. We'll open a second site probably next year in Ghana. So we're diversifying from a geographic perspective. So overall, an English guy that lives in Dubai, who's flown from America to tell you how great Africa is, and I guess be confident that despite the headwinds that we all face, the future, I think, looks very bright. And I wish you all very, very good luck in the awards this evening. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Martin. That was really inspiring. And I think listening to you speak, it's in a way you animating that old African proverb of if you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you want to go far, you go together. And it's lovely to hear that you are taking people along with you. Every time someone talks about the opportunity in Africa, I think for all of us, we've just got these stats on like on speed dial. You know, we know that 60% of the population under the age of 25, what an amazing opportunity, particularly in terms of digital skills. We know that we've got 40% of the world's gold. We know that we've got 30% of the mineral resources. We've got the ore, we've got the diamonds, we've got the platinum, all just beneath the surface. There are opportunities in natural gas, 800 trillion cubic feet of gas that is still vastly untapped. I think it's only about 20% last time I checked. We're going to improve that to about 80% by the year 2035. But opportunities then, Senegal is leading. So we certainly have a vast array of opportunities, both in tapping young skills, both in tapping into those mineral resources, not for the benefit just of companies who will take from the earth and continue the extractive model in our economy, but really begin to beneficiate in South Africa, where we're making our own stuff and we're buying them cheaper here. Someone told me an awful story the other day. I mean, I didn't even know, because you think, oh, great, French champagne, it just costs so much money, it tastes so delicious, darling, and you even drink it in a French accent. But did you know that a vast majority, or in fact, I think the majority of the volumes of exported wine are white labeled? So they sent across to other territories, they're relabeled in Italy and France, and they sold back to us as these fancy wines, but they were probably made in Stellenbosch. Just something to think about. Look, you have to fact check for yourself, but I'm just putting it out there. Another nice thing about diversity is, and I was just thinking about it right now, I thought it was quite clever, maybe you'll agree with me, that curry is a sermon in diversity. Because you can't have a curry without masala. Okay, guys, okay. I'm going to leave the jokes there. But before we continue, I want to, and I saw my dear friend, Dr. Imtiaz Suleiman there. I would like for you to come up, Imtiaz. You know Imtiaz very, very well. He's done a lot of real practical work, him and his team on the ground, all across South Africa and in a lot of places where there are disasters. And the reason I want you to follow on from Martin is when Martin was talking about that can-do spirit, that for me in the teas and the conversations we've had, Imtiaz, is very much you, and it's very much the organization you represent. So maybe just a word of inspiration to everyone here about the possibilities that we have. We've talked about frustrations with just getting things done and how easy they can be if you have the will and you have people who are willing to put their shoulders to the wheel. So please, a warm round of applause for Imtiaz Suleiman, Dr. Imtiaz Suleiman.
Thanks, Iman. I wasn't expecting to be speaking here tonight. Martin, thank you very much. Imran, Vivian, Hamid, everybody else here from the KZN government, and all the awardees, thank you very much. I just want to take up from the point that you said. You spoke about we have gold, all other types of commodities. Our greatest commodity is our people. This is a great country with great people. And to me, Martin is the best country in the world. And I like to take it up from there. You know, we talk about disasters, we spoke about the floods, we spoke about the unrest, we spoke about COVID. But you don't know the quality of people unless you have challenges. And if anything that showed our survival capability is the presence of these three big events that happened in the last 2 years. When COVID came, I mean, we were told we were probably the only country in the world that shut down the country on the 27th of March, 2020, when there was no wave. To me, sorry, but that wasn't a very credible decision. Wasn't a very sensible decision. How do you shut the country down when there's no wave? And the excuse you say is that you're preparing hospitals. To my mind and my understanding, and I've been to 210 hospitals throughout COVID in the last 2 years, not a single hospital was prepared. Not enough staff, not enough oxygen, not enough equipment, not enough beds, not enough linen, no setup points to put up. The country was not prepared. Our doctors and our healthcare personnel were already dying. When saying dying, I don't mean death. They were exhausted. They were overworked. They were not paid for the extra time. When any doctor or healthcare worker resigned, nobody filled the gap. The patients were climbing. The hours were climbing. The healthcare workers were burnt out. And on top of that, COVID comes in as a challenge. We don't meet that challenge. We don't address the challenge. Our greatest asset are our people. The CEOs, the healthcare workers, the doctors, everybody stood up. And even the population stood up. If there was a COVID patient, they didn't say we're scared. They cooked food and took to the house of the COVID patient. That is the best spirit of Ubuntu we've seen. You could put your own life at risk. But they got up and they went across and they gave food to the houses. And there were queues of people waiting to do that. It shows South Africa as a nation was not affected by color, by race, by class, or difficulty. Actually, every difficulty brought us together. There was a time in 2020 December, I'm just going to give you snippets because I don't want to be speaking the whole night here, and you guys want to get to the awards. There was a time in 2020, another tragic story. Department of Trade and Industry, by Minister Ibrahim Patel, clever decision, asked the country to get together and design an oxygen delivery device. So the guys from the SK telescope and all other engineers got together and they formed the National Ventilator Group. This is purely South African. This is our engineering, this is our brains, our technology, our universities. And they got together and they designed a CPAP machine. The high-flow nasal oxygen machines that we're importing were taking 60 liters to 100 liters of oxygen per minute. The high-flow machine took 5 to 10 liters of oxygen per minute and was doing an equal, if not a better job. The high-flow machine had to be connected in ICU. There's 10 beds, 8 beds, 15 beds. Finish after you can't do anything else. The CPAP machine can be put in any oxygen point, in any bed, in any hospital. So it was a very, very clever idea to do that. The CSIR manufactured 20,000 machines. SAPRA approved it. Solidarity Fund paid for it. There was one problem. The government couldn't get the CPAP machine designed by government, manufactured by government, produced by government, paid by government, approved by government, put into a government hospital. They couldn't do that. And I asked, what's the problem? They were blocked. They were blocked by somebody in some department not to deliver machines. This is the thing that we have to stop in this country. The corruption, the obstruction, the bureaucracy, I call those people traitors and anti-patriots. And we've got to get up and stand up against these kind of people because our people die because of that. Whilst we had no oxygen delivery devices in the Eastern Cape, when they were coming to all the rural hospitals and Livingston and PE Provincial and other hospitals in South Africa, they were standing in the queue smiling and dropping dead within seconds. They were in the wards, they were dropping dead. In the ambulance, in the taxi, in the car park, in the casualty, they were dropping dead. So I told a professor, where's these machines? A professor called me from Rhodes University. He said, they're lying in Cape Town. I said, I'm in Cape Town, send me the machine. So I took it to Tygerberg Hospital. I told them, test it. They phoned me an hour later. They said, we saved 2 lives. I then took it to Khayelitsha and I said, test these machines. They called me 2 hours later and they said, we saved 4 lives. I put it on the list, all the CEOs of the hospitals in Eastern Cape, do you want oxygen machine? Everyone put up there and yes. I said, forget the rules, send me the machines. In 48 hours, we delivered 900 machines. We didn't ask anybody's permission. We didn't take advice. We didn't write a letter. We didn't get the MOU, because when it comes to saving life, I don't ask anybody's permission. This country does not belong. And a clear message to government, this country does not belong to you. It belongs to me and 65 million South Africans. And we get up and we fix our country ourselves, because it's about our lives and our people. When those machines went into a first hospital called Kala, the CEO called Monday morning. He said, for the first time in COVID, I am smiling. So we said, what happened? He said, every weekend during COVID, we have this terrible job on a Monday morning to count the number of dead people in our wards. It's a terrible job, it's demoralizing, it's heartbreaking. And this is the first Monday that nobody died. Thank you very much for the machine. In November of last year, again we get a call from the Eastern Cape. The CEOs are crying. I'll come back to what they're crying for. But it showed the quality of our people. The CEO didn't look at the other side. The CEO was crying because of his humanity or her humanity. Because 40 hospitals, the patients had no food to eat. All those people who stole money, the tenderpreneurs, the people who got contracts, your uncle, your grandfather, your brother, your cat, your dog, we need to fix that up. It cannot be allowed. While people are starving from malnutrition in the Eastern Cape, whilst we're talking now, every day there's children dying of hunger in the Eastern Cape because of malnutrition. We need to reverse that. And the CEOs were crying, and we sent in food for patients in 40 hospitals. These are all things that can be fixed. There's not things that can't be fixed. There's enough money. It's the management of the money that's the problem, and how it's being used. And of course, to corporate South Africa, you are part of the problem. Everybody says government is corrupt, but who corrupts government? It's corporate South Africa. Everybody is not a crook in government. Everybody is not bad in government. But there are people in our industries across the board that make things the wrong way, and we have to change that. 4 values we need. 4 important principles we need: spirituality, morality, values, and ethics. We need to ingrain that from small into every sector of society, right to the top. To be fair to government, whether this country was run by the UK, by the Australians, by the Canadians, or the Americans, they're going to have the same problem. Because 7 million people's taxes can't look after 65 million people. It's impossible. The COVID ate the budget up. Not the whole budget, it ate the entire budget up. You have the problem of the fuel price, the food prices, the inflation, the rand-dollar currency exchange rate. All these impacts on poor people. But there's a glimmer. You see, corporates, in spite of what I said, there's criminal people everywhere. There's criminal people in doctors, in lawyers, in the religious sector, in the non-government sector, in the non-profit sector. Everywhere there's criminal people. It doesn't make the institutions bad. Those people have to be corrected. The institutions are good. The policies are good. The principles are good. It's those people who go wayward that spoil the name of everything that's good. So we now have to solve the problem. And how do we solve the problem? Government, corporates, civil sector, all have to hold hands together. There is no other way to do this job. Nobody can do this alone. And to the credit of the private sector and corporates, you see in the past what your corporates did. Okay, let's see, CSI, put a good manager on the top. Send a message, are you 90% BE? Yes, tick. Do you get tax certificate? Yes, tick. Thirdly, make an announcement in the media, we did this, that, and the other. It was all for credibility purposes, not serious intervention in the country. But when COVID came, there was a mind shift change. CEOs called and said, how do we save our people? When humanity comes into corporates, there's great hope for the country. Because whether you believe it or not, spirituality plays a big role in terms of blessings, in terms of progress, in terms of success. May not understand it, but it plays a very vital role. When the floods came on the 11th of April, not a single individual called me to say, I need a boat, or my house fell down, or I need help, this happened. The only guys that called at 11 o'clock at night and 12 o'clock was corporate South Africa and said, how do we help? You guys staying awake late at night, not how to make money, but how to give money. Something has changed. And to that, I salute the corporates. And I salute government that's lifting the barriers to work together. We walked into Nelson Mandela Bay Metro on the 13th of June because the municipality called us and said, we got a problem, the water is a crisis. The business chamber called in and we walked in, and within 15 minutes, we laid out a blueprint. What to do and how to do it. We got a full cooperation of the municipality, corporates from the chamber and from the country, the people and everybody working together. And when you do this, when you regard the country as yours, because when 65 million people take ownership of the country, when you say the country belongs to you, then you have to be active citizens. You can't complain, I paid my taxes, I paid this, I paid that, I did that. Yes, you've paid that. Yes, people have stolen money. But you can't sit there and say, I'm not going to do anything and let the country fall apart. It's your country. You've got to save it. And as I said, 7 million people's taxes can't fix everything. So if you got extra money, what does it kill you to pay a little extra? Willerton, the oil company in Pietermaritzburg, fixed the whole road up, took all the potholes and fixed it up. Then say we're going to wait and see what we can do later on. I spoke to them 2 days ago. I said I want buy-in from corporates. I want to upgrade the entire Nordale Hospital. They say you got us in. I said TPA school in Maritzburg, we need to upgrade it. You see, our children got no chance. In a school where it's got 40 kids in a class, in TPA school, there's 170 learners with learning difficulties. There is no Elson teacher, a teacher with special education needs. There it isn't. What is the future of these children? That's only one school. What about the rest of the country? We need to invest. We're taking over center. We've already put in the Elson teacher. We're bringing physiotherapists, occupational therapists, upgrading the building. And Willerton said, give me the proposal, I'll take over the building. That's the kind of buy-in we want from corporate South Africa. And you guys are doing it. We've upgraded Mitchell's Plain Hospital, Bishop Hospital, Glen Grey Hospital, Nkobela, TB, Butterworth, Adelaide, put in balls in 9 different hospitals in the Eastern Cape. We've put in 23 balls in Nelson Mandela Bay Metro already in the last 5 weeks. We're now producing 7 million liters of water per day excess to support the city. And we're going on that process all the time. We've drilled 500 boreholes in the last 24 months. And we're doing catch-up surgery in various hospitals. Catch-up surgery is critical to take the pain and the suffering of people away. Right now, our teams and Charlotte Makeke, and we're starting next week, what a 41 million rand upgrade of the hospital. We need support from corporates. Government, lift the barriers, no obstacle, no bureaucracy. Corporates come on board. Civil society, we work together. This is our country. We save it together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Imtiaz. And I think on behalf of everyone here and of most South Africans, we just want to say God bless you and your team for the incredible work that you do. And again, it builds on what Martin was saying, that we have to do things in a collaborative way. That is our opportunity for success. And I know that many of you already in this province are exemplifying that and doing it. So well done to you. So we continue then with the awards, and I'm building things up for our Personality of the Year award for the KZN Top Business. And this astute business leader has faced many challenges, but has helped build the company and its various divisions through having a strong mindset, lots of hard work and sacrifice. And these characteristics have ensured that the company has reached new heights in the last financial year with more growth projected for the future. Now, the judges have an enormous task, assessing and deciding amongst these amazing entries who will make it to the top. And, it gives us a lot of insight into just how stiff the competition was, because all of you are just so incredible. So we have to also make sure that these votes are properly managed and audited, because a contest like this is a hot one, and we do have a massive governance responsibility. So the arithmetical accuracy of you can see I did not write that sentence, that was put in there for me. The arithmetical accuracy of the judges' votes was checked by PKF Durban, and I want to welcome Avishkar Hariprasad, who is a partner at PKF, to briefly explain PKF's role in the process, just to let you know everything was completely above board. Welcome.
Sorry, I'm not as short as the rest. And just by the way, I'm an accountant that has a similar problem with the word arithmetical. So please forgive me. I also battle to pronounce it. Good evening, esteemed guests. It's indeed a pleasure to be involved with the Standard Bank KwaZulu-Natal Top Business Awards 2022. PKF Durban is one of the larger independent mid-tier accounting firms in Durban, providing high-quality audit, accounting, tax, and business advisory solutions. We strive to open up your world to the possibilities of growth and inspire confidence in decision-making to secure a higher, brighter future. PKF played a role in the Standard Bank KwaZulu-Natal Top Business Awards 2022 by following the judging process with the objective of providing assurance and clarity. However, in order to act with objectivity and independence, it is important to note that PKF was not involved in any aspect of the scoring or the judging. More specifically, PKF worked independently on the documentation received, We further confirm that the participants appeared to be rated in the correct sector categories, and we verified the arithmetical accuracy of the judges' agreed scores. PKF concluded that the judging process can be relied on in naming the finalists in each sector as well as selecting the winners. Good luck to the finalists, and I thank you.
Avishka, thank you very much for making me not feel so stupid, so I appreciate that. So I'm telling you more about the business personality of the year, and if you win it, I mean, can you imagine all night long I've just been saying these delicious things about you. The 2022 Business Personality of the Year has always maintained a people-first focus and has striven to empower other people with a special focus on women. The company has many employee development and wellness programs in place. You'd expect that from a woman-run business, am I right? Their numerous corporate social responsibility programs enable both the empowerment of communities and the socio-economic growth of KwaZulu-Natal and South Africa. So there's a slight hint in there, but anyway, we'll tell you about that later. So up next on the podium is someone who I met recently and who has a passion for business and business development. And we want to also, on behalf of the top KZN Top Business, recognize just how much work is put into an event like this. And it's got to be spearheaded by someone who has a deep passion for it. So please give him a really warm round of applause. CEO KZN Top Business, Grant Adlam.
Ladies and gentlemen, honored guests, welcome to the Standard Bank KZN Top Business Awards 2022. I'm just going to briefly thank Standard Bank, Iman Rappetti, and your total executive team, everybody who's here. Thank you very much for the sponsorship. Incredible. The partnership is one of those things that allows us to listen to those I don't even know what to call those speeches. They were just so inspiring. This whole event has been streamed, so go back and listen to both of them. Pearls of wisdom in both. Marry the two together, and there's solutions for all of us. So well done, chaps. It was really, really incredible. So the time has come now to basically find out who is KZN leading brand. People have been voting. I mean, some of the voting closed on Sunday at 12 o'clock. On the dot, people were still voting. It was absolutely incredible. It closed off, and the next day people were phoning and saying, can you give us this? Did we do that? Certain people, where are they, somewhere here? Phoning me today saying, who won? Did we make it? And I said, look, the trophy's in the boot, and I'm not going to look, and I don't know. So there's the trophy sitting over there. So whoever gets it has got to have a mighty strong person to come and lift it up, because it's an incredible trophy. So we've never had so many people voting in the past. So it's time to find out who is KZN's leading brand, time to find out who KZN's business personality of the year is, and then who's ahead of the curve in their industries, in their categories. So the time is right now. So I'm not going to keep it back. We're going to go straight into it, Iman?
We're going to do it together.
Absolutely. Well, you
Right.
do it, and I'm going to stick around.
And I must also say, by the way, my mother lives in Pietermaritzburg, and a lot of great people come from PMB. Anyone from PMB? It's a great place. We can do better, PMB. Grant's also from there, and such a great advocate for business, particularly in those areas which are often marginalized. And I must just tell you, these beautiful awards that you get tonight are totally unique. They've been commissioned by Grant and the KZN Top Business team, so they are bespoke. He did say this is, it weighs a ton. You're going to have to get a lot of people to carry it, but your great-grandchildren will be shining these awards. That's how strong and amazing they are, and they've been commissioned by an organization called Handmade in Hillcrest, which is really superb, local South African. If you like them and you want something maybe even smaller for your award ceremonies, please feel free to reach out to Grant. Okay, so now we're getting ready for the awards, as you said, Grant. You're staying here with me. I want to just let you know that for each of the award categories, I will be joined by an executive from Standard Bank. So for our first award, please welcome to stage Hamid Noor Mohammed. And this is for the business innovation category. It is for a new product, a process, or a business concept. And our finalists are Hannah Grace, MI7 National Group, The Holiday Club, Inzalo Utility Systems. And the winner in the business innovation category is MI7 National Group. Thank you so much and congratulations. For the next award, let's welcome Sydney ready to join us. Sydney? Sydney? Come on. Welcome. All right, so we are ready to announce our next category. And this is for entrepreneur resilience, and this award recognizes the capacity to recover quickly from difficulty. And our finalists are Emma Kearney, Cleaning and Industrial Solutions, Crown Dental Studio, Sky Tents, Idwala Property Group. And our winner in the entrepreneur resilience category is... Whose picture is that? Sky Tents. You're looking the part. You came to an award ceremony tonight. Go ahead. Thank you so much and congratulations. Let's call up, is it Jean or Jean Hutting? I'd like for my sister Janice. Welcome. And the category is the Digital or System Implementation Champion. And the winner of this award implements in the digital sector. Airshot, one of our finalists. Smart Exchange. It's an AdNote TV whitespace project, and our DNA Your Footprint NetStream integrated solutions. And our winner in the digital system implementation is Smart Exchange AdNote TV whitespaces project. So I want to Grant, just acknowledge on this particular award. Let's have you come up and receive it. And if the whole team wants to come, you're welcome to. This is your moment. So let's have you up here, but I've got to share your backstory. Let's do the picture while I tell the audience how special you are. For me, the success of this organization is really a success in sticking with the idea, even if other people don't buy your idea. It is about resilience. It is about being an advocate for your own project, your own idea, your own business concept. And look how well you've done tonight. We're really, really so proud of you. So the selection is due to the positive impact that AdNote's TV Whitespaces, their project, is having on the people not only in KZN but in the country. And what they do is they basically, in a nutshell, if I'm right, make it possible for people who don't have access to the internet to be able to access the internet for free in the rural spaces. How great is that? Did I do? Is that right? Okay. Just look happier, guys. You've worked so hard. I know that you work in a tiny office together with your team, but you make amazing things happen. I think there's a server in there and a couple of people around, but your impact is exponential. So really, really a heartfelt well done to you. Are you guys going to rotate the award?
We're going to the gym.
Thank you so much. All right, let's have the next category. And the next category is employee well-being, and this is, overall the physical, mental, and emotional well-being of their staff, KZN Oils, Cox Yates Attorneys, Utandikile Foundation, and the winner for employee well-being is Cox Yates Attorneys. You guys, it's okay to clap for the other children in the class. Well done. Oh, I forgot to call up. No, Mom, sorry. It's a pleasure. Hamid, thank you very much. All right, for the next category, I'd like to call Mano Singh to join us. Looking gorgeous, darling. Let's have the next category. And the category is the small business startup. And our finalists are Alta Radio, the township's first voice. Infinity Growth and Digital Marketing. Who's that? And a retro picture of a camera. The winner is in the small business startup session, Infinity Growth Digital Marketing. I do want to say, even though the logo wasn't there, it would be Visual Network South Africa. So well done to you as well for being a finalist. Junaid Jadwat, let me welcome you to the stage to help us hand out the next award. They say the executives that stay together live together, they succeed together. I think they're all in this corner of the room. Okay, let's have the next category. Community and social responsibility. Our finalists are SLG Spring Lights Gas, East Coast Radio, KwaZulu-Natal's #1 hit music station, Innovate Durban, Project Rhino, Stop Wildlife Crime, and the winner for community and social responsibility is East Coast Radio. So who's on the radio? Yay! Yeah. Go ahead, guys. How's it?
Don't drop.
Yeah, we mean business. Yeah. Well done, guys. Can I also, and this is more about my childhood, I'm so sorry, this isn't part of the program, but I want to acknowledge these amazing photographers. I know that, you're not probably the suit-wearing guy, but you guys are so well-dressed, and you are probably the most well-dressed photographers I've ever seen, and you just look amazing, and I just want to acknowledge you.
Also a good cool thing about that project is it was actually, in fact, a project I did with the doc.
Which one?
The social one.
Okay. Do you want to talk about it? Because people think that we're talking about the outfits and things, and we're not. We're just talking about the show.
Very interesting thing about that award is that in actual fact it was a partnership with the good doc sitting here. So getting back to what you said earlier, there's an award going for corporate giving back. So East Coast, Doc, what an incredible project.
I love
There we
it.
go.
All right, let's bring up Sydney ready to help us give out the next award. See, I told you, the executives that sit together succeed together. Okay, let's have the next category, which is really about a family business. That's our next category, and the nominees are also incredibly phenomenal. They are the Beekman Group, LHL Engineering, Magnet, and the winner in the family business category is the Beekman Group. All the way from Port Shepstone, I understand. I'm just kidding, hey?
No, it's
Okay. All right, let's move on now to our special recognition awards. And you know, what I want to say, this is really a remarkable category for me, and there's some real personal stories, some of which we can't share because, you know, people have been going through a lot and you don't always want to wear your heart on your sleeve. But it takes outstanding effort, commitment, and achievement, especially in KwaZulu-Natal, where a lot of people have suffered personal losses. And some of our awardees have suffered great personal and business losses. And you know what's so remarkable, Imtiaz, to what you were saying, is that not only were they building their own lives, like their own personal lives, but they were rebuilding their own businesses. And in the true spirit of KZN, they were helping other people rebuild their businesses. And it's not often that we get to celebrate good news in South Africa, but when we do, we have to celebrate it like crazy. And I just feel so really like personally affected by this particular award and who we're recognizing. So thank you very much for really being true South Africans. And I want Kuben Chetty to join us for this one. This one doesn't have a sting, hey? It goes to the Hirsch family. And the family, of course, is Margaret, Alan, Richard, and Lucy Hirsch of Hirsch's. Oh, and Dr. Imtiaz Suleiman from Gift of the Givers, Ibrahim Patel, Magellan Management. And they've all been recognized, actually, so you can all come up. Well, nice to see you, Imtiaz. And you'll see Saskia Hill from MCS Debt Recovery. You've got Ibrahim Patel, the CEO of Magellan Investments, and of course Imtiaz Suleiman, Gift of the Givers. Yeah, that's amazing. Well done, well done. We're so proud of you and your contribution. Those really are magnificent awards, eh?
It just goes back to what the doc said and what they all said. It's just incredible.
Yeah. Grant is really having an emotional moment here behind the scenes. I mean, I can imagine because you work so intimately with this, and this was really a wonderful process,
You know,
Grant.
it's one of those that you couldn't give the award to one individual person. So everybody who was on stage here did incredible things, and they've got their own stories. So if you go and research them, they're absolutely all incredible people. So I think they all deserve a huge round of applause. Eh?
Okay. In fact, what I'm going to do, Grant, let me leave you close to the mic, and then, because I've got my roving one, and just feel free, as my mother would say in church, when the Spirit moves you, just share with us, because it is a night for such a thing. Okay. So the Business Personality of the Year Award, I would like Iman Rappetti to join me to announce this one.
Neil, you got
The Business Personality of the Year is Esevani Reddy from KZN Oils. I really would encourage us to stand up for Esevani. And I'll tell you why. Thank you so much. You know, Esevani says women can accomplish anything and everything they set out to do. As women, we are very special. We have so many challenges from the time we are born till we pass on, yet we accomplish them. You may be seated, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for that little honor. And yet we accomplish them with grace, stamina, and most importantly, with love. I mean, it's an amazing story. Thank you so much, Esevani. It's lovely to meet you. I mean, just a little word on that. You know, I do a lot of work in business development, and people are expected to show up. Like, you got to be really on it when you're at work. You can't bring your personal stuff. No one wants to know your business. You know, you have to deliver. A lot of the way business in a lot of corporations are run is really just about performance and being performance driven. And we do that, but nobody really knows our backstory. Nobody knows what happened to us. Nobody knows what we lost. Nobody knows the struggles that we're going through. Pardon me. And sometimes I just encourage you, when you look at people, just take a little bit of a pause to think that maybe everything you're seeing is not the whole picture. And just have a little more empathy and a little more kindness towards people, especially people that you don't know, or people that you make a lot of assumptions about. Kindness really goes a long, long way. So that's just a little note on that. All right. So a highlight of the evening is the selection of being, and we're almost there. We're moving so beautifully through this, aren't we, Grant? Okay. Is the selection of being a KZN top brand. And this one, you were telling me, is one that is voted on by SMS only. So there's no interference. This is literally what other people think about you and who should be these top brands. And you were saying to me before we came on that literally to the last second, people were still casting their votes. By the time you shut things down last night, was it last night?
No, Sunday midnight, people were voting right up to the last second. And you know who you are, because you were pumping it. A lot of people in this room have asked me that question, and I always told you the answer's in the boot, and there it lies. So we're going to find out who it is.
Okay, so let's have Imran and Hamid back with us so that we can cue the countdown. This is so exciting. I'm not even nominated, but I'm very excited. They told me they have a really great gift bag for me, so I'm hopeful. Okay, let's have a team. Coming in at number 20, the Sharks, Grant's favorite team. Plenergy, growing together at 19. At 18, MSC. At number 17, King Shaka International Airport for the Airports Company of South Africa. Magnet at number 16. LHL Engineering coming in at 15. DRG Outsourcing at number 14. SLG at number 13. At number 12, Tyson Properties. At 11, the Durban ICC. Number 10, Cox Yates Attorneys. Number 9, Imperial Armour. At number 8, the Woodford Group. At number 7, East Coast Radio. At number 6, Hirsch's. At number 5, Hollywood Beds. At number 4, the Beekman Group. At number 3, Blue Security. It's getting tough in here, ladies and gentlemen. KZN Oils, number 2. And our top brand, Ixeboletu Group. Wow. And I also just want to acknowledge Kuben as well, Kuben Chetty, for joining us. Sorry, I didn't mention you earlier. Ixeboletu! Well done, and you look amazing, darling. I love the sparkles on your dress. Good evening. Nice to see you. Go ahead and accept your honor. Our top brand, Ixeboletu Group. Give them another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, you can't. It's heavy. We'll arrange. Yeah, we're gonna arrange some strong people to get this out of here. Well done, well done. And just a note on Ixeboletu, the one attribute that came up was just how you do your work. I mean, it's you know, you take care of the sad part of us, really, how you do that with so much empathy and so much care for the families. And I think that's why you're such a resonant brand. So thank you very much for your service to our society. Appreciate you. We're getting close to the end, and it's just as well because things are getting fluffy up in here. Some people will know what I'm talking about. And also it's very, very hot, but what an amazing evening of energy and inspiration. I personally am inspired. Grant, you stand over here for me. And I think the big thing for this evening is just that, you know, in watching people achieve, other people will want to achieve. So next year, I hope the competition is going to be even hotter than it was this year. Do you guarantee it will be? Didn't you have dinner? Okay. All right, so now we've got one more giveaway to give away. And I mean, can't I just get favors or something? Can't I also just use my own connections, Grant? I mean, because this wonderful prize that would have really been lovely. Anyways, going to somebody else, somebody really lucky and special. So we're giving a prize of 2 nights at this gorgeous establishment, the Radisson Blu Hotel here in Durban Umhlanga. And do you want to announce the name?
You can go for it.
Shall I? Yeah. Okay, it starts with an S. Whose name begins with an S and ends with an S? And we'll narrow it down from there. Session! You won. Session Sabapati. Well, congratulations. And listen, you better answer the next question very carefully. Who are you taking? Answer in the mic so everyone can hear you.
My wife, obviously.
Great answer, great answer. So we'll get that award to you, and you and your beautiful wife enjoy your stay at this lovely establishment. Thanks, Session. All right. So before we kind of bring things to an end, I just want to note that you get a special gift by the time that you leave. And again, in keeping with our main awards tonight, they've been made by the crafters at Woza Moya, which is the Economic Empowerment Project at the Hillcrest Aid Center Trust. And Woza Moya was established 20 years ago, and their primary objective is to reduce poverty through craft. So I think it just is so apt to give you something meaningful to take home with you. They've got 3 shops. They support 1,500 crafters. They support in that spirit of doing for me and doing for somebody else, which is really Ubuntu, they support themselves and they support other groups with access to the markets. I mean, can you imagine? 60% of our glass bottles end up in landfill, only 40% are recycled. And one of Wazamoya's projects is Clive's Glasses. And they convert Protea wine bottles into fairy light jars and vases and drinking glasses and candle holders. And you're going to find one of those in your gift bag. It's absolutely gorgeous. And then there's also another one of their popular items in your gift bag. It's called a Little Traveler, which you can send across the world to show support for the center, or you can take it with you on your own travels. They have their own Facebook page for any photo opportunity. So that's really gorgeous, and well done again, Grant, to you and the team for doing things that are really special, these little touches that are really special and meaningful. Okay, so to deliver the vote of thanks tonight, I'm going to welcome Reggie Gambushe, who is the local market for consumer clients for the eThekwini catchment for Standard Bank. So Reggie, join us. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say thanks to Standard Bank and everybody here tonight, because this year's awards, the entry levels and the standards was absolutely incredible. So second and third, give it a bash next year. It was really, really worth it. And Standard Bank, everybody, thank you. And what I did forget to do is thank my team. So my team, my whole entire KZN top business team, thank you very much. Pravina, everybody, Gail, Kirst, Kerry, everybody. Tracy, thank you. Thanks for joining us.
I think, Iman, while I'm busy navigating my system here, I must say well done to you on the manner in which you've articulated and ran this program. For the second, I thought maybe working for Standard Bank. And then I went to Global Search to look for your name. I did not find it. I'm able to take your CV. But what I did find...
Well, did you spell my name right?
Yeah, I did.
What
What I did find was really your name with a huge outstanding balance. In bank's term, it means you're owing. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Reggie Gambushe, Head of Consumer Clients for eThekwini Catchment. I trust that you all have enjoyed the ceremony to celebrate and recognize the top businesses of our province. It is my privilege and honor to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks for such an event. At Standard Bank, we're in business of inspiring hope and enabling dreams. We believe dreams matters because they fuel growth. This belief is encapsulated in our tagline, "It can be." And it has shaped our approach to meeting the rapidly changing needs of our customers and clients in a new digital-enabled world. In times of uncertainty, a business wants partners that bring them certainty, reliability, and excellence when it comes to customer service. But they also deserve partners who understand their needs, partners who are committed to helping them achieve their goals. At Standard Bank, every day we work to help businesses unlock their growth, remain relevant, and to strive. Ladies and gentlemen, an event like this cannot happen overnight. The world started rolling weeks ago. It requires planning and a bird's eye for detail. We've been fortunate enough to be backed by a team of very motivated and dedicated colleagues who know their job and are result-oriented. I cannot thank enough of you for your involvement and the willingness to take on the completion of the task beyond your comfort zone. I would further like to extend a very hearty vote of thanks to all the nominees for gracing us with your important work and sharing with us your dreams. We are all inspired by your great work. All your businesses play a crucial role in our growth as a province as they provide employment, fuel economy, and our involvement as Standard Bank is to ensure that business growth and development is attained and sustained. You're all winners. It is during the most difficult economic circumstances that the top innovators and best operators show their true abilities to thrive, and you all have. Ladies and gentlemen, Once again, I'd like to say that we're almost grateful to the speakers, the business owners, and the team behind the scene on this function. We thank you for being with us this evening. It is a great pleasure. I'd like to leave you with this quote by Stephen Jobs. Great things in business are never done by one person. They are done by a team of people. Thank you very much and enjoy the evening further.
Thank you very much, Reggie, and thank you to all of you. I know I was hosting tonight, but I had such a gorgeous time because you were so amazing as well. Lovely energy. I hope that you enjoy the dinner. Network as much as you can. I see some faces and some cards that need to be taken in the room. So use this opportunity. Oh, yes, and actually, so that voice in my ear was our technical team. Please can we say thank you to them as well? I was at an event yesterday where everything was just horrible. The stage was rickety, the sound didn't work. So to deliver an event like this in this caliber takes people who know what they're doing. I've worked with Neil as a journalist for many years. We've dodged bullets in the field together. So they're really, really good. Thank you so much, guys, for making our lives great and for making the program run so smoothly. So that's it. I mean, there really is nothing else. There's no grand flourish at the end. Just enjoy the dinner, enjoy the dessert, go home safely, and let's do this all again next year. Good night.
We choose to focus on the possibilities. We choose to find solutions to realize the continent's untapped potential by investing in our fellow Africans, supporting communities across the continent, and conducting business the right way. We recognize that every effort we make towards driving Africa's growth begins with the possibility. It all starts as an idea, an aspiration to make a difference. A vision for the future, a glimmer of hope inspired by what it can be, by what we all can be. Because where there's a will, there's a way. And where there is possibility, there's potential for great things to happen. Standard Bank. It can be.